Hello and welcome everybody. Today we are going to start with a fresh topic, which is paper menagerie. As we know, this is suitable for class 11. This is going to be there in your exam. So we are going to do that, and what all we are going to do from here. This is the part 1 of the video, and it will be the meaning discussion, line by line explanation, so that we have no doubt anywhere in the topic, right? So those who haven't yet followed my website slothskill.com, do check it. There is a lot of content over there, and also let me know that if I take a kind of a class for the last 3 months. Okay, there are many who are interested to take the classes, okay, which will of course be kind of a crash course, you can say, or crash term, you can say, where we will finish, we will just discuss some question papers, we will discuss the basic concept, the theme of the chapters, so that we do not have any doubts in it. And that will of course take place near the end of the session, possibly before your exam, right before your exam. It is going to start by October, November, maybe November only. So November, December, or December, January and February, 3 months, okay, last 3 months. So if you are interested, those who have already enrolled, they are taking their classes as per the session, that is all right. Those who are interested and cannot afford to pay that much amount, for them it will be a combined class, and we will discuss all the topics together, whatever is there in class 9, whatever is there in class 10, whatever there is in class 11, okay. For as of now, 9, 10 and 11 we are doing. So if those who are interested or want to join that kind of a class, because none of your other exams will be sorted that way, because it will be just for your boards. So before the board exam you will get 3 months, okay, and that will be a continuous class. You can join that class, and you can take that class for clarifying your doubts, and then again question paper practice, right. So mostly question paper practice is what we are going to do in that class, right. So that's it. Let us move into our topic. So we are doing the part 1 of it, and this is the first picture. Look into the picture. It is a very sweet chapter, very nice one. Of course it is kind of sad, but it will you know, you will be able to connect with this chapter very well, right, because we all have our parents and we love them and we miss them. So if we do not miss them, we of course love them a lot. Often we take them for granted. So the story is related to that kind of love. One of my earliest memories starts with me sobbing. Okay, so that means what? That earliest memories, that means the oldest memory that I have, I can remember that I was crying that time, sobbing. I refused to be soothed no matter what mom and dad tried. So my mother and father tried a lot, but I kept on crying. Dad gave up and left the bedroom, but mom took me into the kitchen and sat me down at the breakfast table. So we see that the father, after trying for some time, he got frustrated and he went away. He thought this boy cannot be controlled, but mother did not. Mother stayed, brought that baby to the breakfast table, and still kept on trying, okay, to set up the mood, to better the mood of the child. Kan matlab look, she said, as she pulled a sheet of wrapping paper from on top of the fridge. So on top of the fridge there were sometimes we do like after the Christmas or after some occasion, there are a lot of wrapping papers that we get, and we keep it there stacked up. And then she brought one of that out, and what she did for years, mom carefully sliced open the wrappings around Christmas gifts. So while opening the gift, possibly I have one hair dryer over here. This is wrapped and packaged, right, when I got it as a gift. So I will open that very carefully so that it is not torn anywhere, and then I will keep it there. I will stack it there, maybe for some other purpose, sometimes to save money also, right. So she set the paper down, plain side facing up, so that that shiny side up and the colorful side down, and began to fold it. I stopped crying and watched her, curious. Why did I stop crying? Because I was curious. I wanted to see that what this lady was trying to do. She turned the paper over and folded it again. She pleated, packed, tucked, rolled and twisted until the paper disappeared between her cupped hands. So finally the paper disappeared between her cupped hands. So it was no longer there. Okay. Then she kept on rolling it, twitching it like this, like we make a paper boat, and then it was there rolled up between his palm. okay, we could not see it. Then she lifted the folded paper package to her mouth, so it was kind of a flat piece of something. So she blew on it, and what happened, like a balloon, like we blow into a balloon, she blew into that figure, and kan, that means look, she said, lahu, lahu is tiger. Look, a tiger. She put her hands down on the table. So you may think that lahu, tiger, which language? This is Chinese. On the table and let go. A little paper tiger stood on the table, the size of 2 fists placed together. So if you place 2 fists together, this is the size of that tiger, as you can see in the picture also, right? The skin of the tiger was the pattern of the wrapping paper. Naturally, if you have made the tiger with that wrapping paper that we got in Christmas, of course it would look like that only. So the white background, it was there, and on that white background we can see that candy canes we see na, which we like kind of umbrella stick, that kind of a thing, plus the Christmas tree and all that was also visible on the tiger. Okay, as you can see in this picture, that cane shaped thing, okay, some green colored stuff is also visible. I reached out to mom's creation. It's still reached out to mom's creation. This is the creation of the mother. So I reached out, I tried to catch the tiger. Its tail twitched and it pounced playfully at my finger. It jumped on me. Roar, it growled. The sound somewhere between a cat and rustling newspapers. So the sound was kind of cat-like because this is a tiger, and then again it was also kind of rustling of newspapers. I laughed, startled, so I was shocked, okay, and I laughed, so my mood was changed. I was sobbing, and from that crying state I started laughing. So this journey, who helped? Of course the mother. And stroked it back with my index finger. The paper tiger vibrated under my finger, purring. So purring means when you touch the cat like this, sometimes you will see it makes a very soft noise, sound from its vocal cord. That is purring, very sound of satisfaction, okay. Zigiozeshi, mom said, Mane, this is called origami. Origami is a kind of folding papers, okay, the way of folding papers to make such patterns as you can see on the screen. I did not know this at the time, but mom's breath was special. Mom's breath was special. Why is this line written? Because she could breathe. She used to breathe into those figures, na? And then they puffed up and then they behaved like real animals. So she seemed to have some magic in her. And she and thus moved with her life. This was her magic. So it was very strange how she could breathe life into those animals, okay, those origami creations. So that is the transformative power of creativity that his mother had, okay. Dad had picked mom out of a catalogue. Now we are going back in the past, or we are moving some time ahead, when the little child comes to know how father met mother, okay. One time when I was in school, so a catalogue means it was an arranged marriage, okay. So one time when I was in high school, I asked dad about the details. He was trying to get me to speak to mom again. He had signed up for the introduction service back in the spring of 1973. That means in the spring of 1973 he decided for an arranged marriage, and he was looking into the catalogue for somebody who is, who is suitable for him. While he flipped through the pages steadily, while he was just looking into the women, okay, who suited him the best, he had spent no more than a few seconds on each page. That means he was not interested in most of them, so he kept on flipping the pages, and suddenly he saw the picture of mom. I have never seen this picture, so of course this is father's love story, kind of arranged marriage, so he never saw that picture. Dad described it. Mom was sitting in a chair, her side to the camera, so she was sitting like this with her face at the camera, and wearing a tight green silk shonsam. Her head was turned to the camera so that her long black hair was draped artfully over her chest and shoulder. So the long black hair was all over her body. She looked at him with the eyes of a calm child. She was very calm and kind of a very peaceful countenance she had on her face, right? So that picture I haven't added over here. This is the picture of that origami that she made, the first page, and then we will move into the next one. We will see something else. That was the last page of the catalogue I saw. So I was so very interested. I liked your mother so much from that picture itself that I did not move into the next page. I was flipping through the pages. When I reached your mother's picture, I stopped because I had made my mind. This is the lady I want to marry. Okay. The catalogue said she was 18. The catalogue said she was 18, loved to dance and spoke good English because she was from Hong Kong. None of these facts turned out to be true. So, all these facts that was written in that catalogue, sometimes we have these newspapers that announce ki I need a lady, okay, a girl to marry, she should be this, she should be this, I work over here, I am tall 5 feet this inch, okay, all that. So, often those are not true. So, same here, that also was not true. She could not speak English at all, okay, but it was mentioned that she was from Hong Kong and she spoke good English. And he wrote to her and the company passed their messages back and forth. So, through the company, okay, via the company the communication took place. Finally, he flew to Hong Kong to meet her. So one day he went to meet her finally. The people at the company had been writing her responses. So, in reality, the message did not come directly from her. It was translated by that company. Okay. So, although she communicated in English, the letters were not written by her. She talked in her own language, that was translated from that company and it was sent to this man. So, it was completely fraud. But of course, the fraud was not done by that lady, right. The people at the hello and goodbye. So, she did not know any other English word other than hello and goodbye, the basic. What kind of woman puts herself into a catalogue so that she can be bought? So, it is kind of a buying sort of a thing, na? Like in the newspapers when you see these kind of things, we feel what is this? This is kind of advertisement that I am giving about myself on the paper so that somebody buys me, right. So, this is a very today's world we will find it very useless kind of thing, no? So, this boy also felt that how could my mother be so mean about herself that she was trying to sell herself like that. Contempt felt good like wine. So, young ones, they have very warm blood and they feel they can scorn at anything and everything. They don't like things and they directly say it. They don't understand that in which context this was done, why it was done, the background of it, okay. So, we don't think about all that, whether that person was poor, whether that person had to be married off, whether there was some problem in the family, we don't think of all that. Instead of storming into the office to demand his money back, he paid a waitress at the hotel restaurant to translate for them. So, when he finally came to know that the lady did not know English at all and would not suit this man at all, he was not angry, okay. He possibly was sad, but he did not demand any explanation from the company, but he went for a waitress who could speak in both language, Chinese as well as English. She would look at me, her eyes halfway between scared and hopeful while I spoke, because generally when you are buying and selling a commodity, you would behave like that. This is a kind of a love affair, no? When you see somebody, you like that person for something, okay, and then you cannot say no to that like it is some kind of a dryer and you don't want it and you just throw it off. There's nothing like that. So, his father was very sensible, we can say from here. She would look at me, her eyes halfway between scared and hopeful. So, she was thinking that whether this man will accept me or not. So, she was hopeful, she was scared that what will happen when he comes to know that I cannot speak English. And when the girl began translating what I said, she would start to smile slowly. So, when she saw that the man was trying to talk, was trying to translate and understand, okay, she smiled. He flew back to Connecticut. Connecticut is a place in the US, and began to apply for the papers for her to come to him. So, finally, he applied to the papers so that they could be married and she could be brought. I was born a year later in the year of the tiger. For this, we will move to the next page and we will see a beautiful picture over here with something written below. See the 12 animals, it is written, the 12 animals: rat, ox, tiger, rabbit, dragon, snake, horse, goat, monkey, rooster, dog and pig. These are actually the 12 animal signs of the Chinese zodiac. Alright. So, actually this is a 12-year cycle, 1 year each sign. So, this child was born on that particular year which had the tiger zodiac. Okay. So, that is why it is said that he was born in the year of the tiger. At my request, mom also made a goat, a deer. Now, again he comes back from that point of time, that memory of his life when he was crying and his mother made him a tiger. Okay. So, other than that, mom made a lot of other things: goat, deer, water buffalo out of wrapping paper. They would run around the living room while Lahu chased after them growling. Lahu was his favorite toy, right? So he used to play with that origami tiger, and the tiger used to, it seemed that it is going to chase the other animals, right? When he caught them, he would press down until the air went out of them and they became flat, folded up pieces of paper. So the tiger jumped on these animals once he was very near to those animals, and all that air from the animal's body was pushed out. So it became flat on the ground. Now later on it could be puffed again, so that the buffalo again became a buffalo, a deer again became a deer. Okay, so it was not a permanent damage, it was just a game. I would then have to blow into them to re-inflate them so they could run around some more. Sometimes the animals got into trouble. Once the water buffalo jumped into a dish of soy sauce on the table at dinner. So we will move to the next picture. This is the buffalo into the soy sauce. As you can see, the buffalo was made, and you can understand from here that this is made of paper. So somehow it dipped itself in the soy sauce on the table, and its leg became mushy. He wanted to wallow like a real water buffalo. Wallow matlab roll in the mud. Buffaloes like to roll in the mud, na, just like elephants. So possibly that water buffalo wanted to roll in the water, soy sauce water, kind of water, and therefore its leg became soggy, and therefore it could not, the softened legs would not hold him up. He could no more stand, and he collapsed onto the table. I dried him out in the sun, but his legs became crooked after that. So after that, it is made out of paper, na? So it has become crooked, so it can no longer stand up. It is just, you can see the body how it is bent in a sort. So mom eventually wrapped his legs in saran wrap. Saran wrap is actually a plastic food wrap. Okay, so he could wallow to his heart's content. So now it can dip its legs wherever it wants, because it is wrapped in plastic. Na, the legs are wrapped in plastic. Nothing will happen if it goes in water or soy sauce, just not in soy sauce. Okay. Also, Lahu liked to trouble sparrows when he and I played in the backyard. But one time a cornered bird hit back in desperation. So one day when my Lahu attacked a bird, it became desperate and attacked. And because of the attack of the bird, what happened? The Lahu became very afraid, whimpered and winced, because possibly it hit it with its beak, and he ran away. He avoided birds after that. He no longer went close to the birds. And then one day I saw a TV documentary about sharks and asked mom for one of my own. So I wanted a shark also when I saw a shark on the TV. She made the shark, but he flapped about on the table unhappily. So the problem was, although the shark was made of this paper only. So the shark could not go into the water, right? The shark is made to go in the water, but it could not go. So what my mother did, I filled the sink with water and put him in. He swam around and around happily. However, after a while he became soggy and translucent, semi-transparent, and slowly sank to the bottom. So naturally, because it is made out of paper, it did not stay there for long. The folds coming undone. So the fold also came out, and of course it became a normal paper. I reached it in to rescue him, and all I ended up was with a wet piece of paper. So it was nothing, but it changed into nothing but a wet piece of paper. Right. Mom made a new shark for me, this time out of tin foil. Now my mother made a shark with tin foil, as you can see in this picture. See, it is made out of tin foil, and if you put it into water, nothing will happen. Lahu and I like to sit next to the bowl to watch the tinfoil shark chasing the goldfish. Lahu sticking his face up against the bowl. On the other side of that, I saw his eyes, magnified to the size of coffee cups, staring at me from across the bowl. So when I put this, my mother made this, and I put it into the bowl, and in the bowl there was a goldfish also. So both of them chased one another. Mostly the shark chased the goldfish, and I and Lahu used to sit on both sides of the of this bowl to see, okay, that what was happening inside. And from this side, Lahu's eyes appeared as big as the size of coffee cup. Okay, Lahu is that tiger. When I was 10, we moved to a new house across town. Two of the women neighbors came by to welcome us. So, this part from here, one important question that we have to remember is, do you think this lahu is actually magical, it can actually move around and talk? No, of course it cannot growl, it cannot move around, but this is kind of just like if we have a toy when we were young. Imagine those days when we were children, we used to think that this toy possibly can talk to me, this toy can fight with a saber and all that. We had those strange kind of imaginations. That is the kind of imagination this child also had, okay, and those imaginations became stronger because his mother was very capable in making all these strange figures, the origami characters, right, and that made his childhood very eventful, enjoying, entertaining, right. So, we will continue with this part again in the next class. This is a big topic, so we will finish off in the next class again. Don't worry, it will not be that okay, we will finish just this portion and then we will we will do it the next part in the next class. When I was 10, we moved to a new house across town. So, now we moved to a next new house, and women neighbors came to welcome us, okay. Dad served them drinks and then apologized for having to run off to the utility company to straighten out the prior owner's bills. So, now the bills also have to be paid and the work has to be done, so father had to leave. Now, the problem is this is the US and the mother knows no English at all, okay, and I was just 10 years old. So, of course, nobody could come and talk to me that much. So, the mother only had to entertain them, but she knew almost no English at all, right. Make yourself at home. My wife doesn't speak much English, so don't think she's being rude for not talking to you. The father was very careful about all this. The father mentioned that she does not know English, possibly she will not be able to speak with you, but don't feel humiliated by it because she is not doing that deliberately, she does not know the language. While I read in the dining room, mom unpacked in the kitchen. The neighbors conversed in the living room, not trying to be particularly quiet. So, the neighbors, they are speaking very loudly. They think that nobody understands English over here, we can comment whatever we want. He seems like a normal enough man. Why did he do that? So, it is kind of a crime to marry somebody who is Chinese, who does not know English. Something about the mixing never seems right. So, this Chinese American marriage, this never seems right. The child looks unfinished. The child appearance is also so unfinished. It does not even look like a proper human being. Look at the comments. Slanty eyes, white face, little monster. Do you think he can speak English? So, they are discussing and the child can listen to that. Okay. So, they are discussing, do you think the child can speak English at least? The woman hushed. After a while, they came into the dining room. So, they came to the dining room and I was also sitting there. Hello there, what's your name? Jack, I said. That doesn't sound very Chinesey. So, that name is not Chinesey at least the name is an American name. Mom came into the dining room then. She smiled at the women. She tries to be humble, she tries to do her work, she tries to be hospitable, she tries to be responsible from every side. But we don't see the Americans doing the same, right, except the father. The three of them stood in a triangle around me, smiling and nodding at each other with nothing to say until dad came back. So, finally till dad came back, there was nothing to do because I was very young and mother could not communicate in English and the neighbors possibly did not want to communicate at all because they did not like Chinese people in America, right. So, that is all. We will keep till here. Next class again we will continue. Possibly you will like it because this is a very interesting story, at least a very emotional one. So, if you have liked it and if you have liked the pictures, don't forget to comment, as that will assure the next portion of the chapter, right. Thank you so much. See you in my next class. Bye bye.